Yokoso, Yokoso, Yokoso. Welcome, welcome, welcome. One and all to the Stadia Monday Night Chat with me, of course, your host, Clive Illenden for the night. And it is episode 98, ladies and gentlemen. Episode 98. Can you believe it? The only Stadia show that comes with a guarantee to inform, educate, and entertain you in equal measures-ish. I hope you are all good. I hope you're well and all of that. As ever, please do say hello in the chat. Say hi in the chat, mingle, make friends. And of course, let me know what your predictions are for the Stadia Pro games for March. So we are anticipating that tomorrow there will be a Stadia Twas and the Stadia Pro games for March will be announced. I know, it's unbelievable, isn't it? It's that time of month again already. You know, February's a short month. Whizzes through. So yes, put your Stadia Pro games for March predictions in the chat and all of that. And we can have a look at that a little bit later and have a chat on that. So should be an exciting day tomorrow. In today's show, of course, we're going to be talking about games coming in March, a breakdown of the Ubisoft earnings call and what that means for Stadia and what they said about Stadia. Of course, we'll talk about the Stadia Pro predictions for March, the Cyberpunk update, and loads of other stuff, all the latest Stadia news, of course. But, ladies and gentlemen, before all that, ladies and gentlemen, you know what you need to do, yeah? You know what you need to do. You need to hit the likes, yeah? To help the YouTube wizards make sure more like-minded people find this Stadia content. And of course, if there are any newcomers watching today, maybe if you watched one of my Stadia News' TLDR editions, my little short news that I do in midweek, a warm welcome to you. Hit the subscribe, toggle that notification bell, then you're going to know when I go live with content like this. Right, that is the formalities out of the way, ladies and gentlemen. So let us say hi to the vanguard, the opinion leaders, yeah? The fans that are the early birds after the Stadia News worms. Yes, it's the early birds in chat time. Let's have a look who is in there. Tally Darkstar. Yes, it is indeed. Yeah, I've got the whole week off, actually, which is quite nice. Tally Darkstar. So lovely to see you. Mr. Bayram Plays. Lovely to see you, sir. Good. Ben 10, Mafia 2, Spiritfarer, Disco Elysium. Are we all just going to throw Mafia 2 in there, like, because that's what we do every month? You know, you never know. Lukey 6, good to see you, sir. Inled, Jerry. Oh, what's this? Got a new member, Dominic. Thank you for that. Why is there? I just swapped my logos around there. Thank you for that, Dominic, new member, much appreciated. Where were we? That was Inled, of course. Jerry, Christopher. I want World War Z now. Yeah, I'm. You know, I put a little poll in there. Do we think we might see World War Z as a pro game? You know, it's sort of because it already exists out, you know, on other platforms. Sort of game as it comes to Stadia that could be a pro game. Let me know what you think. Hey, Captain. Oh, no, you haven't missed it, my brother. You have not missed it. That's good. Hey, Darth Adas, lovely to see you there. Mastar, where's we gone there? Just there we are. Hello, Dave. Look at that. But Dave's been here from the beginning, you know. Much appreciated, Dave. Lovely to see you. Stadia Adventure, as ever. Oh, I can't see saying World War Z, Hellpoint, Fire Commander, and an outright game. Spreading the bets there, the outright game. It is indeed, I do believe it is a crime. It will be on the statutes very, very soon, if I'm brutally honest. Crow Resin, how are you? Lovely to see you. Dominic, look at that. You see, Dominic, as I said earlier, member for 14 months. Christopher Torres there. Oh, look there, look. That's going to annoy me now that my my logo's in front of the alerts. You see, that's just bad. That's just unprofessional. Yeah, if I'm brutally honest about that. Brutally honest. I must have been fiddling about with stuff. Let's put the alerts up the front there. Won't get any more now. There we are. We'll put the alerts there. Just in case. Right. Back to the show, you know, back to the show. But thank you very much for the $10. Much appreciated. Very much appreciated there. Right, where were we in the chat? Yoshida. Yes, indeed. It is second anniversary of the show. 2 years ago this week. And I'll come to that a little bit later. Rage Fuel. Good evening, sir. Lovely to see you. Bud. Good to see you, sir. Oh, yes. Thank you. Thank you for the anniversary. Money, Christopher, really, really appreciate it. I know you listen a lot, so that's always good to see. Raging Jacob there. I'd really enjoy World War Z. I think we'd all really enjoy World War Z for what I've seen of it. So, you know, let's hope. Right. That, ladies and gentlemen, seems to be everybody who's in the front row making themselves known and cheering on and all of that. So to the news. Well, as I said, just before that, I do the news, ladies and gentlemen. As I said before, Anne has been mentioned there, and as indicated by the little, second anniversary sign up there for the observant of you. It was 2 years ago this very week I started this humble, modest little show on my old entry-level gaming laptop, a cheap microphone from Amazon, and the hopeful belief that someone somewhere out there might like what I have to say about Stadia. And 2 years later, we're still here. Oh, Jeremy, thank you very much for the donation. Much appreciated, sir. And yes, 2 years later, we are still here. The show is still here. And a bit like Stadia, no coincidence, we ain't going nowhere. Yeah. We've seen content creators come and go. We've seen content creators broaden their platform coverage. Fine. We've seen content creators chop and change shows more times than the bed sheets in a Tokyo love hotel. But the Stadia Monday Night Chat, like clockwork, every Monday night, tick, tock, we're here, ladies and gentlemen. We are here. And so, yes, I put together a little show reel. Oh, Mr. Bayron Pays coming in there with the $10. I'll flash up in a minute, sir. Wow, thank you, Mr. Bayron Pays. Really, really appreciated. Thank you for that. $10, not even $10. It's £10. £10 of the English finest sterling. Thank you for that. But yes, 2 years ago today, it all started, ladies and gentlemen. This is hopefully the first of many. Okay. Yep, there we are. I'm live. Yeah, just checking on my phone. Of many live streams. So let's get on. Hello! Welcome, everybody. So yes, was it good stuff? That was the question. Yes, I think we can safely say good stuff. Where did it all start? If you could explain, that would be really great.
People are not happy at all
right,
about
okay.
the suggestion that Alex made.
Target removed.
Wow. A whole year of making Stadia content. Week in, week out. I wonder if Google have ever noticed. I wonder. All right, thank you. Simmer down. Yeah, thank you. So, anyway, right, Stadia walks into a bar, yeah, but it wasn't a search bar. Yeah, thank you, I'm here all night, folks, I'm here all night. Stadia. Stadia's dead, haven't you heard? It's dead, yeah? Finally, yeah. I told you, Stadia's dead. Ha ha! Here we go. The recent pro games encouraged me to cancel my subscription.
You're joking. Not another one? Oh, for God's sake, I can't stand this.
Are you listening?
Anything at all, Ray? Pop you. What's that you got? What, this? Oh, this is the latest thing they do here. They just announced it. So why the hell are you getting so emotional? Because I loved it. I thought Stadia Baby would never stop crying. I know, dear. It's been a difficult first year.
What a complete and monumental flop
No.
this cloud streaming platform has been. This is the Stadia Monday Night Chat. This will always be the Stadia Monday Night Chat. Yep, there we go. I hope you enjoyed that little that little kind of run down the memory lane there. Shout out there to Tally Darkstar, who's become a member, the first. Wow, well done, Tally Darkstar, the first member at the new level. We have a brand new membership level if you're interested, and Tally Darkstar's already taken advantage of it. Yeah, Slap Lady. Oh my God. Those that have been watching the show for 2 years will recognize many of those, that kind of nonsense and sketches and all of that kind of stuff. But it's funny to look back on some of them now, just to sort of, you know, put them in context now and see and all of that. Anyway, we're not here just to kind of, for me to indulge, are we really? As I say, thank you for all of those who were here right at the beginning. Those content creators who've helped support the show, my channel members, my subscribers, any newcomers, all of that over the last couple of years. Arigato gozaimasu, as we say. I really, really appreciate it. And as I said, talking of members, I have introduced a brand new entry-level membership, the Cho Shokyu. Only 99p. So Tally Darkstar has taken advantage of the Cho Shokyu membership level. So I just felt like if people want to contribute, you know, what's the lowest level that you could contribute at? Make it easier for anybody who wants to do that. Should you wish, don't feel obliged to. So I introduced a brand new entry level for anybody who is interested in that. So should you feel so inclined, as Tally Darkstar has, then, hey, I'll always be grateful for that. As I said, right, that's enough of all that nonsense. Oh, yes, one last thing. Talking of members, check out. Have I got, look. Now you're going to see, because unfortunately I've got my green screen on, so you can't look. But the Japanese writing is in a sort of yellowy green. So look, I'll show you. But there we are, my new Japanese Stadia concept T-shirt. There, look, I'll show you a better picture. There we are, look. There we are, Japanese Stadia. Oh, Peda Games, just become a member. Much appreciated, sir. Thank you, Peda. So what do you think of that? What do you think of the T-shirt, yeah? It's a little concept that I came up with Yoshida, helped me. There with the wording, obviously. As I say, you can't really see here because it's a sort of a yellowy writing, and that sort of gets interpreted as green. And so look, you can see through my body with it. So yeah, much better. Look at that. That's a much better picture on Instagram if you're interested. Anyway, if you should be joining at the Jockio level, which is it is a top level, you get this, and I can see one member in already in the chat. You know who you are. If you're at Jockio level, you can get this T-shirt exclusively. And I will be following up with my Jockio levels. Jockio level's quite high, so don't feel obliged. But if you for a month, if you want to get the T-shirt, then fine. But yeah, that's the only place you can get it right now. So I just thought I'd mention that. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, wow. Jack, what can I say? Thank you, Jack. Congratulations on 2 years. Looking forward to 100 episodes. Exactly 2 weeks. It'll be the 100th episode, man. Ooh. Oh, Tally Darkstar's upgraded his membership. He's not mucking about, Tally Darkstar. Seen some of the exciting content that is available for the next level up there. Thank you, sir, for that. Pedder's multitasking. Emma's streaming at the same time. Hello, Emma. Make sure you check out Emma's stream as well. I see right through you, sir. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Okay, right, ladies and gentlemen, proper news time, yeah? Proper news time. Let's get in there with the Cyberpunk 2077, which saw a massive update. Of course, let's go big on this one, I think. So Cyberpunk 2077 had a massive update. This is mostly to bring the next gen, so, well, current gen now, effectively, but PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series S up to scratch, as it were. But the patch was available for PC, Stadia, and consoles. And then here's the chart that outlines the kind of the main updates here, and you'll see. So most of them here are the inclusion of ray tracing shadows. Now, I was watching Digital Foundry talking about this with my son, and I was sort of saying to him, I'm really struggling to see the difference. There is a difference, don't get me wrong, and the ray tracing is not in the lighting; it's in the shadows, and you can see a difference in the shadows. There's more diffusion at the edge of the shadows, which is slightly more realistic. And when you don't have ray tracing on, the shadow lines are more clear, more linear. And in reality, the further away the shadow, I think the more diffusion there is. And so ray tracing of local shadows. So if you're in a shadowy place, you'll see them, but it's not ray tracing on all the lights, if that makes sense. But it's very interesting. But yeah, I think obviously if you're Digital Foundry and you line these things up next to each other, and you squint a bit, and you lean forward, yeah, and you stop, yeah, because this is what you do on a game, isn't it? You play it on 3 screens, yeah, different, and you look at the edges, you could just about see the difference, yeah. But at least the game overall is now up to scratch on the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series S. And then down the side here, you'll see the updates for PC and Stadia. So the Stadia version is based on the PC version, but the PC version does have your ray tracing and things like that. Stadia doesn't. So Stadia is based on the PC version, but clearly locked at a kind of mid-level PC, which is fair enough. If you had a mid-level PC, you probably struggle to get ray tracing and that. You need a pretty chunky gaming PC to get the best out of Cyberpunk. So I think, as I say, the Stadia version is based on the PC version. That's why it did so well when it launched, because the only people, when Cyberpunk launched, the only people that had a really good experience are people who had a really good gaming rig. I mean, a proper, decent, expensive gaming rig, or Stadia. Them's were your choices. So that's good to see. And I see posts going, oh, Stadia's far behind now. And it's that kind of hyperbolic language. I saw something in Reddit like that, and it's that kind of hyperbolic language, which is just, quite frankly, nonsense. Yeah. the Stadia version probably sits somewhere between the Xbox Series S version and the PS5 Xbox Series X version, right? That's probably where it sits, in my estimation, what I've looked at. And that's not bad for a platform that's not costing you anything, yeah? So people, if you read tweets, saying Cyberpunk, the Stadia version is so far behind. It's like, no, it's not. It's not far behind. It just lacks ray tracing, really. That's about it. It's always a good port. It's just the others have caught up with it, and in the case of the next gen, sort of overtaking it slightly, except for Xbox Series S, I would say. Discuss, as they say, discuss. But the game, I fired it up on the LG C1, of course, and it looks stunning. It looked good before, but it looks stunning on Stadia. You know, have I experienced it on a £3,000 gaming PC with everything turned up to 11? No, but I can look at it and tell you it looks really, really good. Even my son played a level yesterday. He's never played it before, because after we watched the Digital Foundry video together, and then and I said to him, "I'll show you what it looks like on the LG," and he was saying, "Oh, it's pretty good," and then he wanted to play it. So, but yeah, and of course, there is one particular element that they've added specifically to Stadia. So there's loads of things like with the combat AI. You can rent places now, available apartments you can get here. So additional content. The ray tracing mode, as I said, is specifically really aimed at the next gen consoles. A few exclusives there. Appearance customization was another one. New weapons that you can buy at Wilson's. New photo modes. As I say, crowd improvements. Driving model improvements. The AI kind of reacts a bit better. Vehicle traffic responds better. Balance of the gameplay. Loads of stuff like that. NPCs behave better. It's a massive, massive update. The thing I'd say with Stadia is the game was pretty good on Stadia anyway. I think for everybody else, it's a massive upgrade in terms of what their experience may have been like before. But for Stadia, it's still an upgrade. I mean, there's so much in there in terms of the content, but it's not as much as an upgrade for basically the potato versions that existed on the other platforms apart from PC. But Stadia specific content here, they've added a field of view here. So increase the scale of field of view to match other platforms. So you can increase the field of view, which of course my son, being a fiddler when it comes to gaming, went straight in there, started mucking about with it. And I was going, don't, because I like things vanilla. I don't like touching with my settings. Just like to leave them. But he loves to tweak the settings. So he was in there tweaking that last night. But there you go. Well worth diving back in again. I've dived back in and gave it another look and all of that kind of stuff. Hey, Bud, member for 15 months. Thank you there. Much appreciated for being a member for 15 months. So that's Cyberpunk. Let me know if you've jumped in and played it, anything like that. I have. I think I've really started to enjoy it again. I'm determined to finish it. So should be good. And I know Sunny Cloud Gaming in the chat there was saying, I haven't finished it yet. No, I haven't finished it yet. I got stuck. And then I adapted my gameplay a bit, and then now I'm barreling through it a bit more. I'm just going for the story mode, not doing too many side quests and stuff like that. Getting on with it, yeah? I'm getting on with it. But there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is Cyberpunk update for you. In other news, ladies and gentlemen, of course, in other news, Ubisoft, as they did last year, Ubisoft had their earnings call last night, and then issued last week, and issued kind of their earnings stuff. And there's a few interesting things in here that I think are relevant to Stadia. So I'll just whiz through them here. In fact, here we are. What I've done, a little highlights reel for you, and then we can talk about it here. So we'll just go to the highlights. No, that's not that.
This is hopefully.
The multiplication of platforms offers great opportunities for IP creators like Ubisoft. We have increasing access to all distribution venues, platforms, geographies, and business models, leveraging the strengths of our brands. We are currently working on the significant expansion of our portfolio with ambitious roadmaps for our biggest franchises, notably Assassin's Creed and Rainbow Six. We are also developing powerful new brands and the opportunity to significantly expand our audiences through free-to-play, which is very important for us.
Turning to fiscal 23, we are planning to come with a strong new release lineup next fiscal year. It will notably include the releases of Avatar, Frontiers of Pandora, Mario + Rabbids Sparks of Hope, and Skull and Bones, which are all progressing well, as well as more exciting games. Ubisoft continues to progress towards its ambition to extend its brand's reach to a significantly larger audience through free-to-play across all geographies and platforms.
What conclusion should we draw from the fact that the value of those assets, as you described, are more highly, they're being more highly valued than ever before? Is that therefore a moment to sell? Over to you.
Thanks, guys. We wanted to ask about platforms like Stadia. Google is reportedly diminishing the gaming focus there, maybe never really hitting enough of critical mass in terms of subs. Is maybe there just limited opportunity for yet another device or experience in the market? Maybe more gamers are excited about enhanced versions on the Gen 9 platforms versus, the costs. Anything you can unpack there for us? Are there performance quotients around that experience?
What we can say about Google or streaming platforms in general is that they really do a good job to bring AAA games to as many screens as possible. And that's a trend that will continue and amplify in the years to come. We don't know yet exactly when it will be taking 50% of the industry, but what we see is that for a certain number of players, the experience is really smooth, and they are having a great experience when they play those games. So it's just how many people will be able to play at a good price that will make this grow a lot. And the other thing is when they will be games that will be really created, having in mind that they will be on those, that will be native for the cloud, and those games will automatically help this streaming business to grow exponentially.
Yeah, I realized I was muted because I was played the wrong video initially, and I was trying to fix it. Anyway, there we go. Thank you for pointing it out, everybody. There was sort of edited highlights of the Ubisoft call. So a couple of things I wanted to touch on there. One is, so there was a question from one of the bankers, rhyming slang, one of the bankers there who said it's been reported about, Google deprioritizing Stadia, blah, blah, blah. We've heard it all before, Business Insider, which for me highlights the issue / damage done by the Business Insider article, that you've got, it's spread virally. That one single article spread virally and has almost become the gospel, become fact. And then you have articles like Ars Technica, misquoting Bloomberg, or attributing it to Bloomberg and then correcting it, but then that's a different story. But the point is, if you ever doubt that Business Insider article has not had an impact, then just check out the fact that you've got merchant bankers, rhyming slang, Cockney rhyming slang, merchant bankers saying, we've heard Google Stadia is deprioritizing. What does this mean? Now, Ubisoft know the truth, and they were absolutely very, very clear that they see the potential there, that it brings just some really nice wording that they used, that it as we already know, it allows people to experience their wonderful AAA games, people who are really enjoying it, people having a really smooth experience. And he was talking about Stadia and other streaming platforms, as somebody seemed to be so eager to point out when I said Ubisoft, complimented Stadia. They rushed in to say, and it was other platforms, not just Stadia. Yeah, I know. All right. I'm only interested in Stadia, really, in that context, but fair enough. Stadia and other streaming platforms. Ubisoft clearly are encouraged by it and are carrying on and will continue to support it. And it was good to hear that from the mouth of Ubisoft, as it were. So anyway, I just thought that was kind of particularly interesting. But if we look more in more detail here at the at what's coming up, so we know what's coming up. So their fiscal year ends basically 31st of March. Okay, so fiscal year 2022 ends basically the 31st of March. And then if we look at, we whiz through these. We want the games. Here we go. So some of these we know about anyway. That's the bookings. Here, our release schedule here. So you've got a nice release schedule here. So this is the fourth quarter. So they're in the fourth quarter of fiscal year 22. Bear that in mind, right? Just that, I want to provide that context. Fiscal year 22 actually ends in March. So like in 40 odd days. Yeah. So you've got here Assassin's, what have we got here? We've got, Far Cry 6 DLC, Episode 2, Far Cry 6, Episode 3, Collapse. So that's Joseph Seed. We know that. For Honor, we knew last year that it wasn't on Stadia. We don't know why For Honor's not on Stadia for some reason. I'm sure it must be some weird reason, because if Ubisoft could get it on Stadia, they would, because they put everything on Stadia they can. Oddballers, which is a brand new game that's coming in March. So we've talked about it on this show. Various people have talked about it on this show. And Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege Year 7, Season 1, I'll be touching on that a little bit later, is also coming. So that's that's all by March. So some of these games have already arrived and basically will either arrive by this time by the end of March. So that's fiscal year 2022. So what's really exciting for me is, if I just jump over to this one here. So a lot of these games here are coming in fiscal year 23. Now, don't think we're talking calendar year 23. Yeah, 2023. We're talking fiscal year 2023, which I believe is April 22 to March 23. So some of these games potentially are coming this year. Yeah. And what you've got here, and we know they are more than likely, 99% certain they're coming to Stadia. Yeah. As long as Stadia's around, they're coming, because Ubisoft have said, they're going to continue to support, they like Stadia and streaming technology. So not just Stadia, Luna, everything else. But here, Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. So we knew about that. That's coming to Stadia. So we know that. Beyond Good and Evil 2. I love the original Beyond Good and Evil. It has been such a long time. And I think in 2018, there was a thing at E3 for this, and then nothing. But they're saying it's still on track. Skull and Bones is said to be coming as well. And the Star Wars game, ladies and gentlemen, the Star Wars game from... where's I've got here? Remember this? That was announced. New Star Wars game coming from Ubisoft's The Division studio. We don't know what it is, but this was confirmed ages ago. But it's just useful as a sort of a reminder here that we've got the Star Wars game. So some pretty beefy games that we can expect within the next 12 months. So this is, as I say, fiscal year 23. What that means is in the next 12 months, subject to any slippage, as it were. And ladies and gentlemen, you've also got, there's 3 free-to-play games that are due, that they're working on. They talked about, again, in the Ubisoft earnings call, they talked about the free-to-play games that they've got coming. So we've got Heartlands, Division 2 spin-off. We've got Ghost Recon Frontline. Yeah. And there was one other, and I can't remember what it was called. I always forget it each week. Never mind. But I think that, so there are at least 3 free-to-play games which we're expecting over the next 12 months as well coming to Stadia. So, as I said, a lot of exciting games. One of them is, Star Wars, for goodness sake. Hello? Skull and Bones. Skull and Bones is kind of off the back of their Assassin's Creed Black Flag kind of thing, but made into a massive game. So just the sort of the being a pirate aspect of it, as I seem to remember. And they're working on that. I think they've still gone back to scratch and started the game from scratch again on that one. So yeah, you've got, as I say, and then you add in at least 3 free-to-play games based on existing franchises, because that's the approach that they've taken. I think they've decided to utilize existing and well-known IPs for their free-to-play games rather than create a brand new IP. Hyperscape, anybody? That is a risk when you try to create a free-to-play game and it's a brand new IP. Do I remember people playing Hyperscape? Everybody was hyped for Hyperscape. That died a death, didn't it? So I think they're better off creating free-to-play games based on existing franchises, personally. And then beyond fiscal year 23, the Splinter Cell remake development has been confirmed, is underway at Ubisoft. That's confirmed in their minutes, in the business minutes as well. And that project is led by the team at Ubisoft Toronto and will be using Ubisoft's Snowdrop engine. So we've got that to come as well. So lots of potential big AAA games to come to Stadia. Free-to-play PvP shooters and stuff like that to come to Stadia. All from Ubisoft. And who cares? Oh, yeah, but they're all from Ubisoft. Who cares? Who cares where they're from? It's good to know there's a pipeline of big games. So, yeah. Talking of that, though, I mean, the trouble is some of these games, they go into sort of development hell, even though they're mentioned in these sort of fiscal reporting here. Like Beyond Good and Evil and Crossbones, I mean, they've been in development hell for years, both of them, but they're saying they're on track. But what the hell happened to this game? Anybody remember this game that was promoted? I was doing some research here, and look, Roller Champions. It had a brief kind of trial on PC, I think. It was a free-to-play game, This is the risk about creating free-to-play games. Yeah, here we are. It's still on. It's still on there. Look, still on the Ubisoft page. Roller Champions, free-to-play, PC downloads, coming soon. Whatever happened to that? Who knows? Who knows, ladies and gentlemen? Who knows? Anyway, there you go. As I say, so quite exciting. So your takeaways from the Ubisoft call is I think Ubisoft aren't paying any attention to the Business Insider type articles. They see the value in Google Stadia and other streaming sites bringing their AAA games. They talked about how they try to be innovative in their business strategies and stuff like that. And I think them jumping into bed with Stadia and Luna and things like that is indicative of that. And they also don't see, you know, we've talked about, so many people within the community have talked about it being a 2% business right now. And that merchant banker talked about not meeting the quotient, you know, the right quantity levels in subscriptions, which may well be true, but that's just slowed things down rather than sort of killed it off, I'd argue. And they also, Ubisoft mentioned that what would really, they mentioned that they expect it to amplify, so increase over the next few years as well, streaming. But they also mentioned the value of having a cloud native game. Now, we know Stadia Games and Entertainment closed their thing because obviously in their mind, it wasn't the right time, too early. You know, obviously the subscription levels or the participation in Stadia never reached quite the level they expected. We know they fell short. So these things are going to take longer, and a big investment decision like that to create a cloud native game is going to be even more difficult. But it was interesting to hear Ubisoft comment that they think that would increase the sort of sign into cloud gaming exponentially. But it's still a massive risk, But overall, I thought very, very positive from Ubisoft in relation to Stadia, with lots of great games to look forward to. So, very, very good, I'd say. Talking of Ubisoft games, live now is, let me go here, Extraction Overspill. So kind of some new story elements to Rainbow Six Extraction, and introduction of a new character as well. A Polish character, I believe. But this content is available now, I believe, in the Stadia store. You can upgrade now. It's free if you already have the game. Free content for a limited period of time. So yeah, check that out. There's I do have actually. There's even more. Let me just close that down. There is an explanation of what it's all about, but there's some new characters introduced in there and some new gameplay stuff like that, and it's available right now on the Stadia store if you already have Rainbow Siege Extraction. Now, one of the big issues with Stadia when it first launched was getting the games on Stadia. You know, you can pay lots of people lots of money to get games on Stadia. When Stadia launched, remember that back in the day, many years ago, when I were a lad and Stadia launched, they launched with like 20 odd games. Yeah. Originally, it was less than that. And then about a week before launch, they added another sort of 5 or 6 games. But one of the big issues was the QA and certification process. So that's sort of the last bit of the porting process. It's testing all the bugs, making sure the game gets through the quality assurance process without too many bugs, and passes a very high level of certification. So Stadia apparently have a really strict certification, and it had to go through, basically your game had to jump through so many hoops and had to be correct and bug free in so many places. It made it really difficult to get the game onto Stadia, and basically meant a lot of resources. Now, as mentioned back in the games, the Google for Developers conference thing in July, they've done a lot of work on the porting process itself, improving that, providing more tools and all of those sort of things. And they've also done a massive, absolute massive improvement on that QA and certification process. This is all part and parcel of encouraging games to come to Stadia, combined with this new Stadia business model. So make it easier, because the easier it is to get your game on Stadia, the less expensive it is. The less expensive it is to, in terms of money and investment to put the work in, the better your return is going to be. And so they've been working on that in the last sort of 6 months. And Ryan Bartley of Google Stadia, so he's a product manager, basically presented a seminar at this thing here called Breakpoint by Backtrace. So Backtrace are a bug reporting software company. So they provide software, as I understand it. Again, it's a little bit, I understand about the QA process. When I worked at Lego Games, we had a whole room and there were all these young lads who were about 18 to sort of 23, first job. And they just played games all day, testing out the various builds and then doing a bug report. And that was their job. And it was all part of the QA. And then there was a guy called Keith Turner, who was the head of the QA, responsible for collating all that and making sure the builds got through and passed all the certification processes. Anyway, the point is, this company specializes in that reporting, the QA reporting and bug reporting. And they held a summit, a gamer developer summit. And this Ryan, what did I call him then? Bartley. Ryan Bartley presented at this, and I did watch it, but also shout out to John Scars Gaming. He streamed it. He streamed the event. And I'll tell you what the upshot is. There's going to be an ad in a minute. We don't want that. I'll break down what the upshot is, but basically it's all about making the process easier. Yeah. Bringing your games to Stadia a lot easier. And Ryan talked through the whole process and how they've improved it. You'll see here. Let me just pause it on this page here, because this is quite interesting. What he's talking about here is, back in the day, there were 3 sort of submissions required for full and final certifications. So you had to submit the game roughly about 3 times to get it certified, and they've got that down to 1 point on average. On average, a game gets certified after 1.67 submissions. Waivers, that's when you have a bug that you just can't get rid of. So you sort of you write a begging letter to the Stadia tech people and go, look, we know there's a bug, but can we have a waiver for this? Because it's, it's irrelevant. Your certification or your bug kind of requirements are the threshold's too high. Nobody's going to notice this. Can we have a waiver on this? And they were issuing on average 10 plus waivers. Now they've got that down to issuing at 3.8. And then these post-certification waivers. So after it had been, submitted and people had begged, please submit our game, please approve it. We can't fix the bug, but let's get the game out, please. They've got that down to about 1.8. So there's been a vast improvement in this sort of quality assurance certification process, which is, as I say, it's all about making it easier to get games onto Stadia, getting them certified and approved by Stadia. And that's absolutely the sort of the key thing. And so it's just really interesting. It's really techie. And a lot of it was like, whoa, over my head, big time. But he was really honest at saying in the beginning, they were not publisher developer friendly in that process. And now that has dramatically improved. As I said, they've reduced the QA and certification submission requirements. They've collated porting and certification tools all in one place. So you don't have to go searching to different systems, call up different systems. They're all in one location. Just common sense stuff. But they evolved that process. Stadia, we know it's the Google way, constant evolution, evolving the process. And they've been working on it a lot over the last couple of years. And Ryan here was very pleased to sort of celebrate what the vast improvements they'd done were and stuff like that. And as I say, it underlines the Stadia commitment made at Google for Games in 2021 to greatly improve the overall porting process. And then you ally that with the improved business model, it will hopefully, as I said, make the financial decision that you need to make to bring a game to Stadia even more compelling. And this process continues to be improved, and there will be more updates at the Google for Games Developer Summit, which is not far away. Yeah, come on. Slow coach. There we go. So the Google Games Developer Conference is about a month away. And Ryan mentioned that there'll be more updates on various developer tools and the porting process and certification process at the Games Developer Conference, Google Games Developer Conference. No, this is actually the GDC. So they hope to have more updates, not at GDC, at the Google for Games. I looked at the wrong. Yeah, don't. Yeah, so actually, so it's interesting. GDC, it's not GDC, although Stadia may well be at GDC. It's not GDC. It's the Google for Games one, which is coming up soon as well. So don't get confused. It's the Google for Games one, not GDC. But the point is there'll be more updates on this anyway. So look out for that. So that's good to see. So as I say, as you know, as I've said so many times, Google carrying through on their actions. They say they're going to do certain things, improve certain things. There's lots of stuff going on in the background, which is quite techie and boring, and none of us particularly interested in, because we just want the games to come. Of course we do. We're just gamers at heart. But behind the scenes, we know things are happening. Improvements are being made. They know where mistakes have been made. They know where they can improve things and things like that. So, yeah, all good stuff. In other news, ladies and gentlemen, not far away, Sky Climbers. Now, this came out today quite late. But could there be a surprise tomorrow on the Stadia blog post? So Sky Climbers here posted there is less than 30 days left until the alpha for Sky Climbers. Now, this is the alpha for PC. I think they're going to be using Stadia channels for a version for Stadia. I think this is the game Sky Climbers that was crowdfunded by, well, as it turns out, not just Stadia players. Play Sky Climbers, the developers, behind them, Sky Climbers, stated or corrected somebody on Twitter saying, actually, the vast majority of the crowdfunding actually came from PC players. I mean, the excitement, but which makes sense relative to, the comparative size of the player base. But obviously there was a lot of excitement around Stadia, and a good lot of people within the Stadia community, I know, I have, supported the crowdfunding for the game. Anyway, 30 days away or so from the alpha version. But interesting here, Sky Climbers say more information about the Stadia alpha window will be announced tomorrow. And somebody asks here, War Panox says, tomorrow, certainly in the Stadia blog post. And Sky Climbers replies, love a bit of gossip. Oh, I love a bit of gossip. Replies, there is a nice treat in the blog post. There is a nice treat in the blog post, but we will provide more information from the Paratope, so they're the developers, at Paratope USA Twitter tomorrow. So could we see a reference to Sky Climbers in the Stadia blog post tomorrow? Interesting stuff. This only came out this evening. So, yeah. So I think tomorrow's blog post could be very, very interesting along with the Stadia Pro games. So definitely worth checking out. Definitely worth checking out. So yeah, let me know. It's interesting. It's interesting. In other news as well, I've mentioned before on my Stadia news show, we've got Mad Streets could be launching on the 15th of March. Could be. It is launching on other platforms, and the hope is that it will also be launching on Stadia at the same day. So all things being equal, that is the plan, according to the developer. But just to put a caveat on that, stop that. Just put a caveat on that. It's a crazy physics fighting game for those that aren't familiar with that. They did tweet out here, just to clarify, the release date on Stadia will be March the 15th. So that's when it's coming out on other platforms. And Mad Street says not going to say 100%. So this is the caveat. But it's looking like that month. Not saying because we are almost at the certification process. So just talking about certification. We're almost at the certification finish line. And when that's over with it, then it will be 100%. Perfect. We'll stay tuned. So it may not come on the 15th, maybe a little later. All depends on how successful they were with the certification process. And given what I just said about the new certification process, hopefully it's not taking as long as it would have 12 months ago. So look out for that coming in March. Could be the 15th, but as I said, caveat, no guarantee on that. No guarantee. We also, as I said, we're talking about certification, testing, and the Sky Climbers Alpha, maybe using the channels. They mentioned using Stadia channels. There was a developer blog post from Stadia talking about Stadia channels. We've mentioned it on this show a few times before. Well, it looks like, ladies and gentlemen, that one particular developer, I'm sure many developers have been, but one particular developer has been taking advantage of Stadia channels in the development of their game while they're at home. And that is the developer of From Space. So they tweeted out a lovely little picture here. This is a developer from, let's go there. This is a developer of From Space. So From Space has a demo, really cool demo. I'm really looking forward to this game. If you've not checked out the demo, check it out on Stadia. The full game is coming, we don't know when, but they're well into development on it. But he tweeted this photograph of him playing From Space build, so not the demo, a build, the current build of From Space at home on Stadia. No downloads, no installs, just gameplay in a matter of seconds. This is the developer. This is not some random, guy. This is the developer of From Space playing the latest build of the game. No doubt using their sort of Stadia channels facility to test the game at his own home on his own TV. And they also mention here, are you guys using that Test Anywhere feature that Stadia Dev blog posted? So this is what the Stadia Dev blog posted a little while ago. Play anywhere, and then remember, develop anywhere. And they confirmed here, not sure, can you link? And RJ here, shout out to RJ, linked the Play and Develop Anywhere blog post. And the From Space developer says, yeah, we do that. This photo was on my LG TV for the Stadia app. On our build server, testers select the target platform, e.g. Stadia or Steam, and it uploads the build automatically, or only takes a few minutes. I'm not using any debug tools, but I could if I wanted. So he's testing the build of From Space at home. Just interesting stuff. As I say, we saw the blog post about this a few weeks ago, and it's good to see. Again, this is stuff going on in the background. All the nonsense in the front, in the foreground that everybody's talking about and rumors. It's like a swan. Stadia's like a swan. I think everybody thinks it's asleep, just floating across the lake tranquilly. Come on, swan, speed up. Just tranquilly. But beneath the water, little legs are flapping away. Little legs flapping away, yeah? Stuff's getting done. Yeah, games are being developed. There's stuff in the background we just don't know about. And it's when little things like this sort of bubble up that you realize there's so much stuff going on, we just don't know about. So many games in the pipeline we've no idea, not even aware of, and all of that. In other news, ladies and gentlemen, Chorus has a demo, ladies and gentlemen, in the Stadia store. Chorus demo. What a great game. Don't know how long the demo is. It's a short demo. But well worth, if you've not played Chorus, well worth checking out the demo. It's such a good game. I bought it and tried it for 2 hours, and then I refunded it. Not because I didn't like it, it's because I didn't think it would get my attention because I have such a massive back catalogue of games. I might dive into the demo again, but I've gone back to Cyberpunk, for goodness sake. It's crazy. But yeah, definitely. It's a beautiful looking game. I hate flying games, but it plays like a first-person shooter, not like a flying game. Your axis isn't upside down and back to front and round and round. It feels intuitive to me. So yeah, definitely check out the demo that's currently on there. In other news, looks like Baldur's Gate, the actual game, not the sort of early access version that we lucky Stadians happen to have, is unlikely to be released this year. So Baldur's Gate 3 is in early access on Stadia and PC. But it looks like the full game probably won't come until next year. Just thought I'd share that with you. But the early access version is, of course, available on Stadia and PC exclusively. Of course, Assassin's Creed, in other news, Assassin's Creed got an update. So this is the update before the dawn of Ragnarok. Patch sizes, nothing for Stadia, because there is no patch size. It's automatically. So this is update 1.5, bit like Cyberpunk's update. And this went tomorrow on the 22nd. So this goes tomorrow at the 22nd. A title update, some minor updates. And then, of course, I think it's probably to support the later expansion 3, Dawn of Ragnarok. And there's just various stealth fixes, gameplay fixes, and stuff like that. Check out the Ubisoft site. Yeah, a patch update, I think, goes live tomorrow, prior to the Ragnarok, Dawn of Ragnarok, big, massive DLC coming to Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Good excuse to subscribe to Ubisoft Plus to give it a go, to be honest. Rainbow Six Siege itself, in other news, Rainbow Six Siege gets a... let me just play this. Yeah, it gets a year 7 reveal plan. So there are 4 seasons coming. And the season 1, which is coming very soon in the next couple of weeks, I think it was, is based in Japan. Then season 2 Battle Pass is in Belgium. So the operator is Japan. I think I've seen them. They've got, she's got like not nunchucks, but like little kind of dagger things. She throws, the character throws. Really cool looking character, I think. The new operator for Rainbow Six Siege. Then one from Belgium, Singapore, and then Colombia. So there's a roadmap for year 7 of Rainbow Six Siege, and things to look forward to if you're a big Rainbow Six Siege fan. Of course, cross-play with PC. Oh, no, but that's not fair. No, trust me, not all PC players are, Dr. Disrespect standard, put it that way, or Shroud standard even, so don't worry about that. You still have a good game. And, of course, tomorrow, it's all coming thick and fast. The Witch Queen, available tomorrow. Destiny 2, massive, massive new content. Sisters of Shapes, Swordbreaker, Witch Queen, which of my many name lives on your lips as you weave your story around me. Even as you tread carefully through my courtyard among those who worship the light, I have gifted. Would you deny me the virtue of power? All right, my dear. Anyway, tomorrow, big Destiny fans, get ready to rock and roll with the Witch Queen, Queen Killer. Tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. Tomorrow. And here's a bit of fun to speculate. Somebody shared this with me. Well, Stadia Adventures Life shared this with me. And this is from the Vulcan site. So, of course, if you don't know, as I understand it, Stadia uses sort of Vulcan, or sort of a Vulcan kernel, as it were, as its sort of base. Again, a bit technical for me. But the point is, if you develop your game on using Vulkan rather than sort of Windows, as it were, then in theory, it should be slightly easier to bring the game to Stadia. It's not an absolute slam dunk. It's not a simple case of saying, it's just a flick of a switch. It's not like as easy as bringing a Windows PC game to Luna or something like that. But the idea is that if it's on Vulkan, I think it sort of increases the ease with which you can bring a game to Stadia. More people, much more qualified than I in chat, and everyone else will be able to tell you. But it's just interesting. They published here, this on the Vulkan site, vulkan.org, if you're interested. They published all the games that have been developed using Vulkan. Look. Filter by this field. Okay, and then you've got all the Stadia games here, obviously. Some were, on both, but basically all the Stadia games, Linux and Stadia, Shadow of Tomb Raider. So Vulkan are the tools, the developer tools that they use and stuff like that. But if you have a look at we get rid of. We don't. Yeah, you can filter by all sorts of different kind of levels if you want. But it's just interesting, all the games that are available. If I resubmit submit that form, that have been developed on Vulkan. It's fun to go through the list to sort of see, oh, could that possibly come to Stadia and all that kind of stuff. It's an interesting list. Check out vulkan.org, made with Vulkan. And you can kind of see all the different games. There's no guarantee that they're going to come to Stadia. Obviously, the developers still got to be interested. The publisher's got to be interested in all of that kind of stuff. But it just makes more and more games are being developed using Vulkan because it's open source. The tools are slightly more future-proof than the sort of Windows tools and stuff like that. So, yeah, just interesting. As ever, talking of patches, this came out as well late today. Life is Strange Before the Storm, remastered, gets a patch. It'll be available for Xbox and Stadia later this week. So there's a patch just improving some of the bug issues that are on Life is Strange Before the Storm, coming to Stadia later this week, ladies and gentlemen. That's on the patch. And massive sale in Stadia. Check it out if you haven't. And then last but not least, We Can But Dream, ladies and gentlemen. We Can But Dream. This came out today. And this is just me, wishful thinking. Just me, wishful thinking, ladies and gentlemen. But this little Capcom game, the next chapter, no guarantees, but would it be nice if Street Fighter 6 came to Stadia? Wouldn't that be nice? Just wishful thinking on my part. That trailer was launched today. Right, chat time. Woo! Lots of little kind of news and updates and stuff, and we haven't even got the TWAS. We got the TWAS tomorrow. Should be exciting stuff. Shout out to Bud for being a member. 15 months. Thank you, Bud. Much appreciated. I'm playing Cyberpunk on Xbox Series X, and the RT mode is useless. Good to know. I need to restart Cyberpunk. Yeah. Oh, it's changed. There's an updated chart. Is there? I got that from the website. We're talking about the Cyberpunk chart there, Lukey6. I got that from the website. I'll have to check that out. Thank you for that, Lukey. We'll check that out. It does do ambient occlusion very well. I couldn't tell you. All I know is it looks pretty. Stadia Adventure. It was Stadia Adventure who sent me that Vulkan list, everybody. So thanks, Stadia Adventure, for that. Definitely jump back in it. It's fun. I'm going to play a bit later tonight. It was. Yeah, exactly, Stadia. It had fallen far behind. Fallen far behind was the hyperbolic nonsense quote. But that's Reddit for you, ladies and gentlemen. He liked the performance mode better than the ray tracing. Well, exactly. You know, it depends. I think in some places, if you're not doing anything, but you're looking around, if you're sightseeing, you might want to put it in visual mode. But if you're getting into the nitty gritty and having a fight, you might want to put it in performance mode, you know. I mean, yeah. Cyberpunk was fun. Yeah. Knife throwing is excellent. I need to get my knife throwing sorted. So I can whip out my knife and lob it. Everyone's saying hello to Sunny. It's always good to see Sunny popping in. Yeah, we know we were muted. We've done that bit. Hey, Stadia Pro Gaming. It's going to be on the Rock Show tomorrow, Stadia Pro Gaming with John and Ray, and looking at the week in Stadia on the Stadia blog post tomorrow, hopefully, if they release it in time. What do you think if somebody buys Ubisoft? So, yeah, of course, in that chat was that Ubisoft was open for conversation. I think if you buy Ubisoft, you don't shut down the games going on other platforms. What you do is you guarantee a supply of IP for your platform. So, for instance, if you were Xbox and you still got money left, to buy Ubisoft, you wouldn't deny, it wouldn't make any, it's not good business sense to prevent those games, those IP, because you've got to make your money back. Ubisoft's still a company. It makes its money from selling its games on lots of platforms. What you do, though, is you guarantee that the games are, say, for instance, available on Games Pass from day one. That's what you do. And you hope they develop new games that you might want to make exclusive. But the existing IP and the existing games, I think it doesn't make good business sense to prevent those games coming out on other platforms. All you're doing is securing IP for your subscription service. So that, as they did with Rainbow Extraction, they did a deal, and Ubisoft mentioned that deal with Xbox Games Pass, and it was just an opportune deal. It helped guarantee money up front. When you're releasing a new game, it's risky. If somebody like Microsoft come along and say, well, we'll give you a guaranteed payment up front, allow us to put it on Games Pass, as a business, you go, yeah, we might take that, because I think the word they use is it de-risks the launch of a new IP. And that is the decision that they made. They may well make other decisions like that. So I don't think it would be a major issue if another company bought Ubisoft. That company would be buying it to secure the IP for their property, but they would still need to, want those games to be sold on other platforms. That's my view anyway. But yeah, I don't see Google buying Ubisoft. Google aren't in the games business in that way. It's not their sole, reason for being, raison d'etre. But you never know. You never know. Stadia will continue to bring games, not just through Ubisoft, if they get them out. Yeah. Well, the subscription certainly seems to be working. Well, this is it. I was thinking today I should write I have a really good mind to write to Stadia and say, hire me. I will go on a PR drive for you. Just tell me the information. Tell me what I can say and can't say. Allow me to represent the company, and I will set up meetings. It's not about defending, and I've said it before a few weeks ago. It's not about playing whack-a-mole. That's pointless and it's retrograde to try and slap down individually nonsense articles by nonsense people. Yeah. Some of these articles are reasonable speculation and assumption that has been created because there's a vacuum. There's a lack of news, a lack of front footing from Stadia. And as I said, they just need to talk to Bloomberg to say, I don't know, they just need to have something to talk about. That helps. And maybe that's the problem. They don't feel they have anything big enough to talk about. But they need to be on the front foot to control the narrative. So the questions that you get from a merchant banker are, I just saw an interview with Phil Harrison or so-and-so from Stadia, and they said this, that they're planning this. And that becomes the news. Yeah, you create the news. That's how you need to do it. You need to control the narrative. I'm willing to do it, Stadia. If you're listening there, hire me. I will, on Stadia's behalf, start being on the front foot, posting out stories of positivity, things to come, progress, plans, without giving any away, but enough to just seed the press out there. Because other press jump on it and report it. That's what happens. And if Stadia aren't putting out good, big stuff, then you get one clickbait type article with some speculation in, and then everybody replicates that like some bad facsimile and amplifies it, and then that becomes fact. You know, print the lie enough and it becomes the truth. So yeah, I've said it before, they just need to get on the front foot. Oh God, Beyond Good and Evil, it has, man, it has. Yeah, we need to see, you know, we need to see what EA are doing. God, I hope EA bring Madden and FIFA. I'll save my disappointment for if that doesn't happen, but I will be incredibly disappointed, and I will be the first to say it. Yeah, the games will come. I think there's going to be a lot of noise and buzz tomorrow, as is always the way within the Stadia community. We're up here, then we're down there. We're up here. Every time Stadia Pro came, there's sort of a buzz, and then some sort of bad spin about some nonsense comes along. There was some rubbish today I saw being amplified in nonsense again, and it's just like, no, none of this is relevant. Why are you even saying this stuff? You're just stirring the pot, you know? Move on. Forget about it. Why bother? Anyways, and tomorrow there'll be a buzz. There'll be a buzz, I can guarantee you. 220 games. It's crazy, I know. The first-person shooter Ubisoft is working as kind of a mixed mash of Tom Clancy games. It is. Well, there's two. There's one that people sort of immediately, when they saw the demo, said it looked too similar to Call of Duty. I don't mind. And then the other one, which is more sort of team-based, Escape from Tarkov style. That was the other one. I love both those concepts. Bring them. Yeah, it still won't be finished. It's a storefront and a game service, exactly. Yeah, I mean, well, apart from PUBG, but yeah, I like a shooter game and Destiny 2. But yeah, apart from Ubisoft games, which, I mean, they're good shooter games. But yeah, we could definitely, well, there's 9 to 5, which is a bit buggy. World War Z, which is coming. But yeah, I get it. I get it, Jay Risemoto. Of course, we would love to see a Battlefront or a Call of Duty. I mean, it's not everybody's cup of tea, but credibility-wise, it would do the platform. We've always, really well, but we've known that. It lost its bearings and hit the skids. You're not kidding. But games get hyped and announced 2 years before they're completed, and then they get lost in development hell. MM2K, shout out to MM2K. Always watches content, please, everybody. We never know. This could be a preliminary talks on to Stadia, an external group to do cloud. Exactly. You never know. Again, it's about no developer or publisher is going to want to do a cloud native game until cloud gaming is beyond its nascent stage, its embryonic stage. It's a 2%, 3% business. All the stats we ever look for, all the quotes we ever see, it's a 2% 2% business. You don't build and invest for a cloud native game for a 2% business. But without a cloud native game, how are you going to get that 2% business up to a 50% business? So it's when those sort of two things meet, and I think we're still too far from it. Plus, you've got to plan 2 to 3 years ahead. So you're going to have to plan that game while it is still a 2%, 3% market. So I think it's a bit of a chicken and egg situation. I certainly see Ubisoft's point. Of course, if there was an amazing cloud native game, but who's going to make that investment while it's only a 2% investment business? Even though in 3 years' time it might not be, and that's how long it takes to develop the game. But do you take that risk? So yeah, I get it. We definitely should have all types of games. I think, in fairness, though, Jay Risemoto, there is a vast range of games. And Stadia did comment in their final blog post that they want to diversify the range of games that they're bringing. I mean, we had, what, 2 games launched last week, completely different, other than the fact perhaps they're sort of Japanese. We had a fighter game in My Hero Justice 1, 2, whatever it is. My Hero. And then we had Dynasty Warriors 9 Empires. Completely different games. Completely different. Released on the same day. So there is a vast variety of games. They may not be the games everybody wants, but there are, I mean, there's over 200 games. And it's a good mix. And Stadia have said categorically it is something they want to increase the variety of games. So that's good. Yeah, they do have a good variety. And as I said, I think they want to represent more genres. Yeah, oi, I hope you're paying attention, John. I hope you're not chainsawing and watching this. Don't want to lose any limbs, my mate. We don't know for sure. Again, and I think Ubisoft really want to stay independent. Obviously, the vultures are, circulating. But the thing with the purchase of Activision Blizzard is they were in a difficult situation in terms of their reputation and everything, and they were ripe for the aggressive takeover. Ubisoft aren't in that position. They're very happy the way they are. So I think, if it was a case of show me the money for Ubisoft, it would have to be a lot of money. Over the odds, because why change the status quo? Because they're going to have the shareholders. Whereas I think with Activision Blizzard, given where they were reputationally, I think their value dropped down a bit, and there was an opportunity, and Microsoft didn't waste any time, personally. Exactly. There's lots of speculation. At the moment, Ubisoft ain't going anywhere. And, even if they got bought tomorrow, the changes wouldn't take place for another, 12 to 18 months minimum. Exactly. Contracts in place. We don't know. We don't know what Xbox. Yeah, well, you hope that the indie developers of, it's always the way about invest in your indies, because the indie developers of today become the AAA companies of tomorrow. We never have an Ubisoft Pro game, no. Hit more platforms, more game sales. The issue is people demand more games and slam Stadia for lack of games, yet also slam games that they state are coming to Stadia. Exactly. You're not wrong there. You're not wrong. The point is that my issue with what people say a lot of time is not necessarily the kernel of what they say. They're probably very valid, but the hyperbolic way they say it, or the context. There's no games on Stadia. What they're saying is there isn't any games they particularly want to play, because there's 220 games on Stadia. There are no AAA games. Again, there's not the AAA games they want to play. There's loads of games I'm not interested in, and I see they get announced for Stadia, and people are like, oh my God, I can't wait for that. Fine, people have different gaming tastes, and as long as you create a nice variety of games, which Stadia has, then that's fine. If your complaint is about particular games that you like that aren't down there, that's fine, but just put it within that context. Don't just say a statement that reflects your opinion and make that like a general statement for everybody else's beliefs or viewpoint, because that's not the case, especially when it's about games, Cyberpunk, Doom, FIFA, massive games. Star Wars, massive games. No, I'm not. We definitely need. Yeah, well, it's fine. You know what? That's the beauty, J Rides. Cloud gaming is not for everyone. There are big games. If you mean by big games, Battlefield and Call of Duty, if that's what you mean, no, they're not on Stadia. So unfortunately, you have to play them elsewhere. That's fine. All game ideas start from somewhere. Yeah, the creativity that's often replicated, it's like films or TV. You know, little independents come up with these great ideas, and then you suddenly see them in blockbusters and stuff. The ideas, amplified in bigger things. They're not leaving anyway. It's just speculation, but. Let's keep it polite, eh? Let's keep it polite. Fair enough. Yeah. Everybody, let me nice. Calm down, everybody in the chat. Well, it's not even speculation. It is speculation, but yeah, it's like a what if. It's like a what if scenario. That's what we're talking. I can't see it happening. Pro game in December. You never know. Imagine that. So Sky Climbers isn't just saying nice stuff about Stadia because they're forced to by the majority of Stadia support. Exactly. They came out very strongly to say that there is a myth that somehow Stadia and the Stadia Stadia community is responsible for the majority of the crowdfunding. And they provided evidence that that is not the case. In fact, the majority of funding came from PC players. That being said, we were very vocal about it. We're a small community. Stadia as a gaming community is a small community. I think as a percentage of the Stadia gaming community, probably a biggest percentage of any gaming community supported Sky Climbers. Yeah, that probably is correct. But yeah, as you say, as it turns out, Sky Climbers love Stadia, even though their game was mostly funded by PC players. We could have been the opinion leaders and amplified it and got PC players interested. It does look fun. Yeah, I'm not sure. To be honest, I'm not sure Google is in. I think again, it's like people who just assume Google are like Xbox or PlayStation. Google aren't Xbox. They're not PlayStation. I don't think they're in the business of buying a publisher. Yeah, I think they're in the interest of engineering, developing tech, leveraging that tech either through business to business and a consumer offering, a storefront. Yeah. Anyway, there we go. Yeah, absolutely. They've learned. I think they've learned. It is a smart move. Oh yeah, of course, the billiards game. Good shout out. We've got that. We've got that to come. I'm going to whiz through the chat, so apologies if I don't jump on your stuff. Yeah, J Rides is quite legitimate to come in here and say there are some aspects of Stadia he doesn't like. That's fine. I think, fair enough. Yeah, big games too. Massive games. Can take, 3 to 5 years. I mean, look at Skull and Bones or Beyond Good and Evil. Jesus. All types, exactly. Was that the chorus demo today, Pedder, you played? Oh, earthquake somewhere. Oh, I would say more J JRPG games on Stadia. Oh, well, they brought out a whole load. There are about 4 JRPG games. That was lovely to see because I know there is a massive appetite for JRPG games. Yeah, more free games. Of course, we had we've got that demo. We had the free play weekend of Jackbox Party 7, I want to say. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Jay Rides. Hey, Cloud Validation, how are you, sir? Yeah, exactly. My kids play Minecraft, you know. My son plays Minecraft. And you know what? My daughter wanted to play Minecraft with him. And I said to him, why don't you play it on the Xbox? Because I was using the PC. You've got 2 gaming PCs. And he said, I don't like playing Minecraft on the Xbox, prefer the PC version. So they play on the PC, on both gaming PCs. So I can't do any content creation. But yeah, and then he plays FIFA on Stadia. He's never off FIFA when he's, you know, annoys his sister because she wants to play Minecraft with him. But he plays FIFA on Stadia because FIFA on Stadia is amazeballs. It's such a good game. Like the new logo. What new? Oh, App Headers. All right, App Headers. Okay. There we go. Well, there we are. That's enough chitter chatter. Thank you for all coming along. And I'm sorry if I missed you. Oh, look, 9 to 5 had a patch. We'll check that out because 9 to 5 just chugs a bit, just doesn't work very well. So we'll see whether they've improved that patch. I want a really good PvP shooter that's on the standard of a Division 2. You know, that's why I'm looking forward to Ubisoft PvP, you know, Destiny type thing, you know, but like PUBG in terms of its concept, but the playability of Destiny and the graphical fidelity and all of that. Anyway, that's beside the point. Thank you for coming again for the show. 2 years I've been doing this. Keep going. Chat, you make it what it is. I love getting involved in the chat there. Thank you for contributing. Thank you to everybody who joined at the new members level. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you for all the people who've been members for ages. Really, really appreciate that. And thank you for all the chat donations as well. Really, really appreciate that. You don't have to. But anyway, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful week. Check out, I think Rock's show goes live just before the publication of this week on Stadia blog post. Should be a good one. Check that out. I shall be watching it. We'll find out what pro games we are. We'll find out what the Sky Climbers little treat is and all of that. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. Oh, yes, and check out the Stadia News TLDR, which will probably come out Wednesday or Thursday, but check that out. Have a great weekend. A great week. You've had the weekend. Have a great week. Goodbye.